The stars stretched endlessly across the viewport as Captain Han Ji-ho stood on the bridge of the UHSF Indomitable. His ship was the largest vessel humanity had ever built, measuring over 4 kilometers from bow to stern. This was its first deep space voyage, and every system was performing perfectly. The crew of 3,000 moved through their duties with practiced efficiency, their voices calm and professional across the communication channels. Commander? Park Minji approached from the navigation station, her tablet displaying the current star charts. Captain, we're approaching the edge of the Kepler sector. The jump drive is ready for another test whenever you give the order. She looked up at him with steady eyes. All systems are green. Han nodded slowly. He had spent 15 years in the United Human Space Force, rising through the ranks after serving in the Mars Rebellion. That conflict had taught him many things, but the most important lesson was this: power meant nothing without control. The Indomitable carried enough firepower to level a planet, but he hoped they would never need to use it. Hold position for now, he said. I want Lieutenant Choi to run another diagnostic on the weapon systems. We're a long way from home, and I don't want any surprises. Lieutenant Choi Dae-ho looked up from the weapons console, his young face brightened by the glow of his screens. At 26, he was the youngest chief weapons officer in the fleet, but he had earned his position through exceptional skill. Already done, sir. I ran 3 separate diagnostics. Everything checks out perfectly. The railgun batteries are calibrated, missile tubes are loaded, and our point defense grid is operating at 100%. Dr. Yoon Hannah emerged from the science lab, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She carried a data pad filled with readings from the deep space sensors. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. There are energy signatures about 3 light hours ahead of us. They don't match anything in our database. The bridge fell quiet. Everyone turned to look at the science officer. Han felt his heartbeat quicken slightly, though his face remained calm. What kind of energy signatures? Unknown, Hannah replied, moving to the main display. She pulled up the sensor data, and colorful waves appeared on the screen. They're definitely artificial. Multiple sources, moving in coordinated patterns. And Captain, they're using technology we've never seen before. Commander Park straightened. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Hannah nodded, her eyes wide with excitement and nervousness. We're not alone out here. Someone else is in this sector. For a moment, no one spoke. Humanity had been searching for alien life for centuries, sending probes and signals into the void. They had found nothing but empty planets and dead civilizations. The galaxy had seemed like a graveyard, vast and silent. But now, everything had changed. Han took a deep breath. Sound General Quarters. I want all departments on alert, but keep weapons offline. We're here to explore, not to start a war. Dr. Yoon, can you get a better reading on those signatures? Already working on it, sir. Hannah's fingers flew across her console. I'm boosting the sensor array to maximum range. Give me 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes felt like hours. The crew waited in tense silence as the Indomitable's powerful sensors reached across the darkness. Han watched the main screen, his hands clasped behind his back. He thought about Earth, about the billions of people who would want to know what happened here today. First contact. It was the moment humanity had dreamed about for so long. Got them, Hannah announced. The main screen shifted, showing a cluster of ships in the distance. They were smaller than the Indomitable, but elegant in design, with smooth curves and strange energy fields surrounding their hulls. I count 12 vessels. They're definitely not human. Their power signatures are completely different from ours. Lieutenant Choi leaned forward. Sir, they're scanning us. I'm detecting multiple sensor sweeps across our hull. Let them look, Han said calmly. We have nothing to hide. Commander Park, prepare a standard greeting protocol. Dr. Yoon, work with communications to create a translation matrix. We need to talk to them. The next hour was a flurry of activity. The communications team worked with Dr. Yoon to analyze the alien ship's transmissions, searching for patterns that might allow for translation. The engineering department, led by Lieutenant Kim Soo-yoon, monitored the ship's systems, making sure everything was ready for whatever came next. Finally, a message came through. It was in an unknown language, but the intent was clear. The alien ships were hailing them, requesting identification. "Send our response," Han ordered. "Tell them we are the UHSF Indomitable from Earth, representing humanity. Tell them we come in peace and wish to establish communication." The message was sent. Minutes passed. Then the alien ships began to move, forming a wide circle around the Indomitable. Their weapons ports opened, though they didn't fire. It was a clear message. They were watching and they were ready. Lieutenant Choi's console lit up with warnings. "Captain, they're attempting to penetrate our hull with their scanners. Deep-level scans, trying to analyze our internal systems." Commander Park looked at Han. "Sir, that's an aggressive move. Should we respond?" Han considered the situation. The aliens were testing them, trying to understand what kind of ship they were dealing with. But this kind of invasive scanning was inappropriate for first contact. It showed either arrogance or fear. Either way, he needed to set boundaries. "Lieutenant Choi, prepare a focused EMP burst. Target one of their scout ships, the smallest one. I want to disable their sensors only. No permanent damage. Make it precise." "Yes, sir." Choi's hands moved across his controls with practiced speed. "Ready on your order? Fire." A pulse of electromagnetic energy lanced out from the Indomitable, invisible but powerful. It struck the targeted alien scout ship, and immediately the vessel went dark. Its lights flickered and died, and it began to drift. The other alien ships immediately broke formation, moving away quickly. "Message sent," Commander Park said quietly, but instead of retreating, the alien fleet regrouped. Their formation shifted into what was clearly a battle pattern. More ships were arriving now, appearing from faster-than-light jumps. Within minutes, 20 alien vessels surrounded the Indomitable. Dr. Yoon looked up from her console, her face pale. "Captain, I'm receiving another transmission. It's different from before. I think it's a general alert. They're calling for reinforcements." Han felt a cold knot form in his stomach. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. Keep trying to communicate. Make it clear we mean no harm. But deep in space, on a massive station orbiting a distant world, an emergency session had already begun. The Galactic Council had been alerted. An unknown species with superior technology had appeared in their space, and they had just attacked one of their ships. The age of human isolation was over. What came next would determine the fate of two civilizations. The council chambers of Prima Lux had stood for 2,000 years, a monument to galactic peace and cooperation. The massive circular room floated in orbit above the capital world, its walls made of transparent metal that showed the stars beyond. 5 species had ruled this chamber for countless generations, believing themselves to be the pinnacle of civilization. Today, that belief was being challenged. High Chancellor Morden stood at the center of the chamber, his insectoid body rigid with tension. His compound eyes reflected the holographic display floating above him. It showed the human ship, the Indomitable, surrounded by council vessels. The scale of the image made several council members shift uncomfortably. The alien vessel was enormous. "This cannot be accurate," War Consul Vriktar growled. His reptilian features twisted into a scowl as he studied the data. "No single ship can be this large. Your sensors must be malfunctioning." "The sensors are functioning perfectly," replied Commander Thelvas, who stood before the council to give his report. "I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. The vessel is over 4 kilometers long. Its power output exceeds anything we have in our entire fleet. And when we attempted to scan it, they disabled our scout ship with a single energy pulse. No warning, no communication. Just instant defeat." Sir Linara, the telepathic observer from the Centauri species, closed her multiple eyes. "You are leaving out important details, Commander. Your ships attempted invasive scanning first. The humans responded with precision and restraint. They could have destroyed your scout ship. Instead, they simply stopped it from spying on them." Vriktar slammed his clawed fist on his seat. "Restraint? They attacked a council vessel. This is an act of war." High Chancellor Morden raised one of his limbs, calling for silence. "Let us not jump to conclusions. We know nothing about these humans. Where do they come from? What do they want? Have they responded to our communications? Yes, Chancellor Thelvis replied. They claim to come from a planet called Earth, from a system we have never surveyed. They say they had no knowledge of the Council or our territory. They claim they come in peace. A likely story, Vreektar snorted. A ship that size is a warship, not a peace vessel. They come to conquer, not to trade. The aquatic Thros representative, Diplomat Vendara, spoke in her bubbling voice. Perhaps we should consider their perspective. If we encountered a ship of unknown origin, would we not also scan it? Would we not defend ourselves if that ship tried to penetrate our systems? The humans may have simply responded to what they perceived as a threat. Morden nodded slowly. Wisdom speaks through you, Vendara. But we cannot ignore the threat this represents. A species with technology superior to ours appearing suddenly at our borders, we must proceed with extreme caution. The Lumine representative, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form pulsed with light. I have reviewed all available data. The human ship's capabilities are beyond our understanding. Their shields cannot be penetrated by our sensors. Their weapons technology is unknown, and they possess faster-than-light travel that is far more advanced than ours. If they wished to destroy us, they could. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. It was the truth no one wanted to speak aloud. The Council had always been the strongest power in known space. Now that power was threatened. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Captain Han Jiho paced the bridge. More alien ships had arrived. The number had grown from 12 to 47. They formed a massive sphere around his vessel, weapons ready, but not firing. It was a standoff. Any progress on communication? He asked Dr. Yoon Hannah. She shook her head, frustrated. Their language is complex. I've identified several different dialects or possibly different species, all communicating with each other. I'm building a translation matrix, but it will take time. So far, all I can make out is that they're calling us an unknown threat and demanding we submit to inspection. Commander Park Minji looked up from her station. Sir, I've been analyzing their fleet composition. These aren't all military vessels. Some of them are clearly scientific ships or diplomatic transports. They're not preparing for battle. They're studying us. Does that make sense? Han replied. We're something new to them, just as they are to us. They're afraid and curious at the same time. He moved to his command chair and sat down. Dr. Yoon, how long until you can send them a proper message? Give me another hour, and I should have a basic translation protocol ready. We don't have an hour, Lieutenant Choi interrupted. Sir, 3 of their larger vessels are moving into attack position. They're powering up what look like weapon systems. Han felt his jaw tighten. This was escalating too quickly. He needed to de-escalate, to show these aliens that humanity wanted peace. But he also needed to show strength. In his experience, people only respected those they believed could defend themselves. Commander Park, what are our options? Park pulled up a tactical display. We can jump away at any time. Our drives are faster than theirs. We can outrun them easily. Or we can stay and try to communicate. If they attack, our shields can handle anything they throw at us. Our armor is several generations beyond their apparent technology level. I don't want to run, Han said. Running makes us look weak or guilty. And I don't want to fight. Fighting makes us look aggressive. He thought for a moment, then made his decision. I want to show them what we can do without hurting anyone. Lieutenant Choi, prepare the graviton field generators. Commander Park, calculate a micro-jump that will put us behind their fleet. Park's eyes widened slightly. Sir, that's a very aggressive maneuver. It's a demonstration, Han corrected. We're going to show them that their containment formation means nothing to us. But we're not going to fire a single shot. Dr. Yoon, as soon as we jump, send them a message. Tell them we could have escaped, but we chose to stay because we want to talk. The crew moved quickly to execute his orders. Lieutenant Kim Soo-yoon, the chief engineer, diverted power to the graviton generators. These devices could manipulate gravity itself, bending space around the ship. When activated at full power, They created a localized gravity well. "Ready, sir?" Choi reported. "Activate." The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Indomitable's graviton field generators came online, creating a massive gravitational distortion. The alien ships in the nearest formation suddenly found themselves pulled off course, their pilots fighting their controls as an invisible force dragged them sideways. Alarms sounded across 47 alien vessels as their crews struggled to understand what was happening. Before they could react, the Indomitable's jump drive engaged. The massive warship simply vanished, disappearing from the center of the alien fleet in a flash of twisted light. 3 seconds later, it reappeared 50,000 kilometers away, perfectly positioned behind the entire Council formation. On Prima Lux. In the Council chambers, every sensor display went red with warnings. The humans had just demonstrated technology that should have been impossible. Instantaneous travel across that distance, with that much mass, required power levels the Council couldn't even measure. War Consul Vrikdar stood up, his voice shaking with rage and fear. "They're mocking us, showing off their superiority. We must respond with overwhelming force before they destroy us all." But High Chancellor Morden was staring at the displays with a different expression. Not anger, but understanding. "No," he said softly. "They're showing us they could leave whenever they want. But they haven't left. They're still there, waiting." He turned to the Council. "They want to talk." At that moment, Dr. Yoon Hana's translation matrix finally worked. A message from the Indomitable reached the Council chambers, translated into all 5 Council languages. "We are humanity. We come from Earth. We did not know you existed, and we mean you no harm. We have shown you our capabilities not to threaten you, but to establish that we will defend ourselves if necessary. We seek peaceful contact and mutual understanding. We request a diplomatic meeting to discuss our future relationship. Please respond." The Council chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to High Chancellor Morden. The future of 2 civilizations hung in the balance. 3 days had passed since Captain Han Geo sent his message to the Council. 3 long days of waiting while more and more alien ships arrived. The Indomitable now faced the largest peacetime fleet in Council history. 62 warships surrounded the human vessel, their weapons powered but not firing. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Commander Park Minji stood at her station, monitoring the alien fleet movements. She had barely slept in the past 72 hours. Every muscle in her body was tense, ready for action. But Captain Han remained calm, sitting in his command chair like a man without a worry in the world. She admired that about him. His calm helped keep the crew steady. "Commander, you should get some rest," Han said without turning around. "I need you sharp, not exhausted." "I'll rest when this is over, sir," she replied. "Right now, I need to be here." Before Han could respond, Dr. Yoon Hana's voice cut through the bridge. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the Council. They've agreed to meet with you." The bridge crew perked up, hope lighting their faces. Finally, progress. "Details," Dr. Han said. Hannah pulled up the message on the main screen. "They want you to come to a diplomatic outpost. Coordinates provided. You're allowed to bring 1 aide unarmed. They promise safe passage and safe return." She paused, looking at the captain with concern. "Sir, they want you to come alone to their station. That's a huge risk." Commander Park immediately stepped forward. "It could be a trap. We can't trust them yet." Han stood up and walked to the main viewport, staring out at the alien fleet. "They're afraid of us. That's why they gathered all these ships. They need to see that we're not monsters, that we can be reasoned with. And the only way to do that is to show trust first. Sir, if something happens to you, then you jump this ship back to Earth and report everything to command." Han interrupted. "That's an order, Commander. If I don't return within 12 hours, you leave. No rescue attempts, no negotiations. Just go home." Park wanted to argue, but she knew it was pointless. When Captain Han made up his mind, nothing could change it. "Yes, sir." "Who will you take with you?" Han turned and looked at Dr. Yoon Hana. Doctor, how would you like to make history? You're our xenobiology expert and first contact specialist. You should be the one to meet them face to face. Hannah's eyes went wide. Me. But sir, I'm just a scientist. I'm not a soldier or a diplomat. Exactly. That's why I'm choosing you. They need to see that we're not just warriors. They need to see our scientists, our thinkers, our dreamers. He smiled slightly. Besides, your translation matrix made this meeting possible. You deserve to be there. While preparations were being made for the diplomatic mission, Lieutenant Choi Daeho was making a disturbing discovery. His sensors had picked up unusual readings from one of the Council worlds in a nearby system. He ran the data through analysis 3 times before calling over scientist Nam Ji-woo from the research lab. Look at this, he said, pointing at his screen. These energy signatures from that planet's surface, they look familiar to you. Nam Ji-woo studied the readings carefully. She was young, only 24, but brilliant in her field. These are weapon signatures. High-energy particle beams, railgun acceleration patterns, missile guidance systems. She looked up at Choi, her face pale. Lieutenant, these are human designs. Or at least, they're extremely similar to human weapons technology. Choi felt cold. That's impossible. We've never been to this sector before, I know. Which means either they developed similar technology independently, or she trailed off. Or they've been watching us, Choi finished. They knew we existed before we knew about them. They took their findings to Commander Park immediately. She listened to their report with growing concern, then pulled up star charts and communications logs. Computer, search all human broadcasts for radio signals that could have reached this sector. The computer worked for several seconds, then displayed the results. Multiple radio and television broadcasts from Earth reached the Kepler sector, beginning approximately 103 years ago. Signals include entertainment media, news broadcasts, and scientific communications. Park's expression hardened. They've been listening to us for over a century. They watched us develop. They studied us. And they've been preparing for the day we'd arrive. She looked at Choi and Nam. This information needs to reach the captain immediately. But it was too late. Captain Han and Dr. Yoon Hana had already departed on a shuttle to the diplomatic outpost. They were on their own. The diplomatic outpost was small compared to the massive council station at Prima Lux. But it was still impressive. The structure was built into an asteroid, with multiple docking bays and clear defensive capabilities. As the human shuttle approached, Han could see dozens of alien ships in the vicinity. This was neutral ground, but it was heavily guarded. I'm nervous, Hannah admitted as they prepared to dock. Good, Han replied. That means you're smart. But remember, we're here as equals. Not as conquerors, not as victims. As equals. They need to understand that. They docked without incident and were escorted into the station by 2 alien guards. The corridors were designed for multiple species, with varying gravity zones and atmospheric conditions. Han and Hannah walked through environmental shields. Several times before reaching the main chamber, the council representatives were waiting. 5 different species stood before them, each one unique and alien in appearance. Han could see intelligence in their eyes, but also fear and suspicion. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. High Chancellor Morden spoke first. His voice translated into English by their technology. Captain Han Ji-ho of Earth, we welcome you to this neutral meeting ground. I am High Chancellor Morden, Speaker for the Galactic Council. We have many questions. Han bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. I am honored to meet you, Chancellor. This is Dr. Yoon Hana, our expert in xenobiology and first contact protocols. We also have many questions. Perhaps we can help each other find answers. For the next 2 hours, they talked. Han explained humanity's history, their development of faster-than-light travel, their exploration of nearby star systems. He was honest about humanity's violent past, about wars and conflicts, but also about their progress toward peace. He spoke about Earth's united government, their dedication to science and exploration. The council listened, asked questions, and studied the 2 humans carefully. Some seemed genuinely curious. Others remained hostile. Then War Consul Vriktar stepped forward, his reptilian features twisted with anger. You speak of peace, but you come in a warship larger than anything we have ever built. You disable our ships without warning. You demonstrate military capabilities that threaten everything we have built. How can we trust you? Han met his gaze steadily. You cannot trust us yet. Trust must be earned on both sides. But I can tell you this. We could have destroyed your fleet 3 days ago. We had the power and the opportunity. We chose not to. We chose to wait, to communicate, to seek understanding. Does that not count for something? Words are cheap, Vriktar growled. Prove your peaceful intentions. Surrender your ship's specifications. Submit to council authority. Show us you mean what you say. No, Han said firmly. Humanity bows to no one. We are willing to negotiate as equals, to share knowledge, to build friendship, but we will not surrender our sovereignty or our right to defend ourselves. That is not how equals treat each other. The chamber fell silent. Several council members looked shocked by Han's refusal. Vriktar's eyes blazed with fury. Then alarms began sounding. Red lights flashed throughout the station. Han's communicator buzzed urgently. He pulled it out and heard Commander Park's voice, tight with stress. Captain, 3 council battlecruisers just opened fire on the Indomitable. We're under attack. Han felt his blood run cold. He looked at High Chancellor Morden. What is the meaning of this? Morden's compound eyes went wide with what looked like genuine shock. I gave no such order. This is not authorized. Vriktar stepped back, and Han saw something in the War Consul's expression. Satisfaction. This was planned. You set this up, Han said quietly. You never intended to negotiate. Vriktar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Your ship may be powerful, Captain, but no vessel can stand against the might of the entire Council fleet. By the time you return, your precious Indomitable will be nothing but debris. Humanity's first contact will be its last. Han looked at his communicator, then at Dr. Yoon Hana. He could try to rush back to his shuttle, try to return to his ship, but he knew he wouldn't make it in time. Instead, he smiled. It was a calm, confident smile that made several council members shift nervously. War Consul, you have made a terrible mistake. You're about to learn why humanity survived when so many other species in our galaxy did not. Commander Park is one of the finest officers I've ever served with, and the Indomitable is more than just a ship. It's a promise.
Activated his communicator.
Commander, you have operational command. Defend the ship, but minimize casualties. Show them what humanity is capable of. Park's voice came back steady despite the chaos. Yes, sir. We'll handle it. Han turned back to the council. Now let's watch together. Let me show you what happens when you corner humanity. Commander Park Minji had dreamed of commanding a starship since she was a child. She had imagined the moment countless times, picturing herself in the captain's chair, making the tough decisions that would save her crew. But she had never imagined it would happen like this. With Captain Han trapped on an alien station and 3 battlecruisers firing everything they had at the Indomitable, she was now in command of humanity's most powerful warship, all hands, battle stations. She ordered, her voice carrying across the ship's communication system. This is not a drill. We are under attack. Defensive systems to maximum. Weapons hot, but hold fire until my command. Lieutenant Choideo's console lit up like a fireworks display as the alien weapons struck the Indomitable's shields. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and kinetic missiles hammered against the invisible barrier surrounding the ship. The impacts created brilliant flashes of light that lit up the darkness of space. Its shields holding at 98%, Choi reported. Their weapons aren't even scratching us, Commander. Lieutenant Kim Soo-yoon's voice came through from engineering. All power systems operating normally. I can maintain these shields indefinitely. Their weapons technology is at least 50 years behind ours. Park felt a grim satisfaction, but it was mixed with anger. War Consul Vriktar had betrayed the peace talks, putting both Captain Han and the entire ship at risk. This was an act of war based on fear and pride. But Han's orders had been clear: defend the ship, but minimize casualties. He still believed peace was possible. "Open a channel to the attacking vessels," Park ordered. "Let me speak to them." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, Commander." Park took a breath and spoke clearly. "Council Fleet, this is Commander Park Minji of the UHSF Indomitable. We have not fired a single shot in anger since we arrived in your space. Your attacks are unprovoked and in violation of your own Chancellor's promise of safe passage. We request that you cease fire immediately and explain this aggression." There was a moment of silence. Then, more ships joined the attack. 6 more battlecruisers opened fire, their weapons joining the barrage that was already underway. The Council fleet had decided to throw everything they had at the human ship. "They're not listening," Lieutenant Choi said. "Additional vessels are powering weapons? I count 15 ships now, actively engaging us." Major Lee Hyenwoo's voice crackled over the internal comm. "Commander, my Marines are suited up and ready. Give the word and we can board those ships, take control, and end this." Park considered it. 2,000 combat-trained Marines in powered armor could overwhelm any of those alien vessels in minutes. But that would mean killing, and killing was exactly what they needed to avoid. They had to show strength without crossing the line into brutality. "Negative, Major. Stand by but do not engage. We're going to handle this a different way." She turned to her weapons officer. "Lieutenant Choi, I need a demonstration of our capabilities. Something that will make them think twice without killing anyone." Choi's fingers flew across his controls. "I have an idea, Commander. Recommend we show them our point defense system, then follow up with a warning shot from the main railgun batteries. Do it." The Indomitable's point defense grid came online. Hundreds of small turrets emerged from the ship's hull, each one capable of tracking multiple targets simultaneously. The system was designed to intercept incoming missiles and torpedoes, and it was frighteningly efficient. Every single projectile the Council fleet had launched was suddenly targeted, tracked, and destroyed before it could reach the shields. Explosions lit up space as missiles detonated harmlessly in the void. Then the Council ships switched to energy weapons only. Beams of concentrated plasma and particle accelerators struck the shields, creating brilliant displays of light and energy. The Indomitable absorbed it all without showing any sign of damage. "Their weapons are ineffective," Choi reported. "Shields are still at 97%. Fire the warning shot." Park ordered. The Indomitable's main railgun batteries had been designed to punch through planetary fortifications. They fired solid metal slugs accelerated to 30% of light speed using magnetic fields. The kinetic energy of a single shot was equivalent to a nuclear weapon. Now, Lieutenant Choi aimed 3 of these weapons carefully past 3 different battlecruisers, firing. The railguns made almost no sound in the vacuum of space, but their effect was dramatic. 3 metal slugs, each one moving faster than anything the Council had ever created, streaked past the alien battle cruisers with only meters to spare. The shock waves from their passage alone damaged nearby vessels, knocking out sensors and cracking hull plating. The rounds continued into deep space, disappearing into the darkness. Every Council ship immediately broke formation, scattering in panic. Their commanders had just witnessed weapons that could destroy them before they even knew they were being targeted. The mathematical precision required to fire that close without hitting them was almost as terrifying as the weapons themselves. Park wasn't done. "Lieutenant, launch a demonstration salvo. 500 missiles. Full spread pattern. I want them to weave through the enemy fleet without hitting anything, then self-destruct at a safe distance." Choi smiled grimly. "Yes, Commander. Programming now." The Indomitable's missile tubes opened, and 500 guided missiles launched in a coordinated swarm. Each missile had its own AI guidance system, allowing it to navigate independently. The swarm spread out and dove toward the Council fleet like a school of fish, weaving between ships with impossible agility. The Council vessels tried to shoot them down, but the missiles were too fast and too numerous. They danced through the alien formation, missing each ship by bare meters, demonstrating total control. Then, at Park's command, all 500 missiles detonated simultaneously at the edge of the fleet. The coordinated explosion created a massive fireball that lit up the sector like a newborn star. It was beautiful, terrifying, and completely harmless. But the message was clear. We could have destroyed you all. The Council fleet stopped firing. Ships began to retreat, their commanders overwhelmed by what they had just witnessed. Park saw her moment. Open a channel to all Council vessels, she ordered. Broadcast on all frequencies. Channel open, Commander. Park stood up, straightening her uniform. Council fleet, this is Commander Park Minji. We have just demonstrated a fraction of the Indomitable's capabilities. We could have destroyed every ship that attacked us. We chose not to. We have disabled your weapons with precision, shown you our defensive systems, and given you a sample of our offensive power, all without killing a single one of your people. This is what humanity offers, strength combined with mercy. We do not want war. We want peace. But we will defend ourselves if necessary. Stand down now, and let us resolve this through diplomacy, as it should have been done from the start. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, Council ships began powering down their weapons. Captains who had been following Victar's orders were now making their own choices. They had seen enough. This battle was suicide, and they knew it. But War Consul Vrikta, watching from the diplomatic station, was not ready to accept defeat. In a final, desperate gambit, he sent one last order to the fleet. All remaining ships were to ram the Indomitable. It was a suicide attack. But he believed it was the only way to stop humanity's advance into Council space. 15 ships turned toward the Indomitable. Their engines at maximum power, they accelerated toward the human warship on collision courses. Their crews either loyal to Vriktar or too afraid to disobey. Commander Park saw them coming and felt a moment of sadness. These aliens were about to throw away their lives for nothing, but she couldn't let them succeed. Helm, prepare for emergency micro-jump. Navigation, plot a course that puts us on the far side of the system. Execute on my mark. Lieutenant Kim Soo-yeon's voice was tight. Commander, a jump this close to other ships could create a spatial distortion that damages them. Better damaged than dead, Park replied. They're trying to ram us. If we stay, they'll kill themselves against our shields. If we jump, they might survive. Execute. The Indomitable's jump drive engaged. Space twisted around the massive warship, and in the blink of an eye, it vanished. The 15 Council ships that had been accelerating toward it suddenly found themselves racing toward each other instead. Some managed to divert in time. Others didn't. Ships collided in a series of devastating impacts, metal shrieking against metal, hulls crumpling, atmosphere venting into space. The Indomitable reappeared at the edge of the system, completely undamaged. Park immediately ordered medical teams and rescue shuttles prepared. Scan for survivors. I want rescue operations underway immediately. We may have been enemies 5 minutes ago, but we're going to save as many lives as we can. Back at the diplomatic station, High Chancellor Morden stared at the display screens in shock. The battle was over. The Council fleet was broken, not by human aggression, but by human restraint. They had won without trying to win. Morden turned to War Consul Vriktar, his voice cold with fury. You have violated every principle the Council was founded on. You attacked during peace talks. You ordered suicide attacks. You have brought shame to us all. Guards, arrest him. 1 week had passed since the battle that changed everything. The diplomatic station near the edge of Council space had become the center of the galaxy's attention. News of humanity's arrival had spread across all 47 Council worlds, creating reactions ranging from fear to fascination. The Council chambers themselves had been transported here, converted into a neutral meeting ground where the future would be decided, Captain. Han Ji-ho stood in his quarters aboard the Indomitable, preparing for the most important day of his life. Today, the Galactic Council would vote on humanity's proposal for alliance. Commander Park Minji had returned command of the ship to him after the battle, though she wore her new decorations with quiet pride. The entire crew knew they had made history. You look nervous, Dr. Yoon-hana said as she entered his quarters. She carried datapads filled with information about council, politics, and diplomatic protocols. Over the past week, she had become humanity's expert on alien cultures. spending countless hours learning from council representatives. I am nervous, Han admitted. Everything we say today will affect billions of people, both human and alien. The weight of it is almost too much to bear. Hannah smiled. You handled a battle. You can handle a political debate. Battle is simpler. In battle, the objectives are clear. In politics, everyone has different goals, different fears, different dreams. It's much harder to navigate. They made their way to the council chambers together. The massive circular room had been restored after the damage from Vriktar's betrayal. 5 species stood in their designated areas, representatives of civilizations that had ruled this region of space for millennia. Now they were preparing to possibly welcome a 6th. High Chancellor Morden called the session to order. We gather today to discuss humanity's proposal for alliance with the Galactic Council. Captain Han Ji-ho will present his case. The council will then debate and vote. Captain, you may begin. Han stepped forward, his uniform crisp and clean, his bearing confident but not arrogant. Honored council members, I stand before you representing humanity, species that has just taken its first steps into the galaxy. We come as newcomers, aware of our ignorance, but eager to learn. We offer the council our friendship, our technology, and our protection. In return, we ask for your knowledge, your trade, and your acceptance as equals. He activated a holographic display that showed Earth, humanity's home world. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It was beautiful and small compared to the vast galaxy around it. This is where we come from. A single planet where we learned hard lessons about war, about peace, about the value of cooperation. We have fought each other for thousands of years. We have nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times, but we survived because we learned to work together, to overcome our differences, to build something greater than ourselves. The display shifted, showing human history. Ancient wars, terrible weapons, cities in ruins. Then recovery, growth, space exploration, the colonization of Mars and the outer planets. Finally, the development of faster-than-light travel and the construction of the Indomitable. We built the Indomitable not as a weapon of conquest, but as a shield of protection. In our history, we learned that peace can only be maintained by those strong enough to defend it. We offer that strength to the Council. Any enemy that threatens you will have to face humanity as well. He paused, looking at each council member in turn. But we offer more than military might. We offer new perspectives, new ideas, new approaches to old problems. We bring the energy of youth and the wisdom of suffering. We have seen the worst of ourselves and chosen to be better. Let us help you be better too. Hologram changed again, showing proposed joint ventures. Scientific research stations, combined patrol fleets, trade agreements, cultural exchanges. Han had worked with his staff and council advisors to create a comprehensive plan for integration. We propose a gradual alliance, building trust through small steps. Joint exploration of uncharted space. Shared research into physics and medicine. Combined defense forces to protect all our peoples. And over time, as trust grows, deeper integration. Humanity does not seek to dominate or be dominated. We seek partnership among equals. He finished and stepped back. Thank you for your time and consideration. I will answer any questions you have. The debate that followed was intense. Each species had concerns, fears, and questions. The Valkyrie worried about human military power upsetting the balance of council politics. The Thras questioned whether humans were stable enough for long-term cooperation. The Lumine wanted guarantees that human technology wouldn't be used for conquest. The Krathin, still bitter about their war consul's arrest and disgrace, demanded restrictions on human expansion. Han answered each concern patiently. He promised transparency in military matters, offered technology sharing agreements, and agreed to respect council territorial claims. But he refused to accept any restrictions that didn't apply equally to all council species. Humanity would be equals or nothing at all. Finally, Seer Lenara of the Sentheri spoke. Her telepathic abilities had allowed her to sense the truth in people's hearts, and her words carried great weight in council decisions. I have touched the minds of many humans in the past week, she said, her voice like bells in the wind. I have felt their thoughts, their emotions, their deepest desires. What I found surprised me. Yes, they are capable of violence. Yes, they have darker impulses. But underneath it all is something rare and precious, genuine hope for peace. They truly believe that different species can work together, can overcome their differences, can build something beautiful. That hope, that optimism in the face of a cold universe, is something we have lost over our long existence. I vote to accept humanity's alliance. We need their hope as much as they need our knowledge. Her words shifted the mood in the chamber. One by one, the council members began to speak, their opposition softening. Even the Krathan representative, while maintaining objections, acknowledged that humanity had shown restraint during the battle. They could have slaughtered the council fleet but chose mercy instead. High Chancellor Morden called for the vote. All those in favor of accepting humanity's alliance proposal and granting them a seat on the Galactic Council as the 6th member species. 4 hands rose. The Valkyrie, the Thros, the Luminae, and the Centauri all voted yes. The Krathan representative abstained. Unable to support, but unwilling to oppose after what had happened to Vriktar. The motion passes, Morden announced. Humanity is hereby welcomed as a member of the Galactic Council. Captain Han, your species has earned this honor through strength tempered with wisdom. We look forward to a long and prosperous partnership. The chamber erupted in applause from the various alien species. Han felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had done it. Humanity now had a place among the stars, but the work was just beginning. Over the next month, the details of integration were hammered out. A new human arrived to take over diplomatic duties, Ambassador Kung Ginzio, a veteran diplomat who had negotiated the peace that ended Earth's final continental war. He would represent humanity in council affairs while Han returned to his true role as a military commander. The Indomitable itself underwent a transformation. No longer just a warship, it became a symbol of cooperation. Council scientists came aboard to study human technology. While human engineers learned from alien innovations, Dr. Yoon Hanna established the Institute for Xenological Studies, setting up laboratories both on Earth and on the Indomitable, where humans and aliens could work together. Commander. Mingi received a promotion. She was given command of the 2nd Titan-class warship, the UHSF Resolute, which had just completed construction in Earth orbit. It would join the Indomitable in patrolling Council space, protecting the trade routes and borders that all species now shared. Lieutenant Choi Dae-ho, whose precision during the battle had saved countless lives, was fast-tracked for command training. He would captain his own vessel within 5 years. Lieutenant Kim Soo-yoon became the chief liaison for engineering cooperation between humans and aliens. Sharing knowledge that would benefit everyone, Major Lee Hyanwoo's Marines became the core of a new joint, Dae Military Academy, training both human and alien soldiers in combined operations. The once feared warriors became teachers, showing Council forces new tactics while learning from alien combat doctrines. 6 months after first contact, a historic moment occurred. The first joint Human Council exploration fleet prepared to launch into uncharted space. 12 ships from 6 different species would travel together into the unknown, seeking new worlds and new civilizations to befriend. Captain Han stood on the bridge of the Indomitable as the fleet prepared to depart. Ambassador Kung Ginzio stood beside him, as did High Chancellor Morden, who had come aboard for the launch ceremony. Through the viewport, they could see the other ships in formation, alien and human vessels side by side. "What do you think we'll find out there?" Morden asked, his compound eyes reflecting the starlight. Kong smiled. "Hopefully friends, but if we find enemies, they'll learn what you learned. Humanity fights hardest when we fight for others. And now we have others worth fighting for." Han nodded. "The galaxy is large and dangerous, but together we're stronger. That's the real power of what we've built here."